Good morning and welcome to really our first Take 5 of this new series. We used to do these chapel chats, and I kind of want to make this a little more formal but less formal. And so what I want to do today is focus on the two series of Easter and Emmaus. You know, we ran through Lent, I think, that it went so quick, as I feel these days just are flying by us. Here we are at April 29th already, or April 28th, and we are already a third of the way through the year. And before you know it, we'll be halfway through the year and the year will be over. And sort of our Lent was themed around this journey through the desert and really journeying with Christ in our own path of wearing that crown of thorns. And I think that sometimes we lose count of what that crown may feel like for ourselves, because we get so busy in our lives that we feel that we become so inundated with the daily activities, the sports, the after-school activities, or the clubs that we're in, or the phone activities that we do, or watching TV, and we just put maybe sometimes the spiritual needs in our life aside, because it's easy to do. They just don't need our attention. And I know I found that in my own life from time to time. I know especially when I was going through my own struggle of alcoholism. I'll tell you, it was so easy to pick up a drink and drown my sorrows than to turn to God, because I decided that I knew what was best for me and that God didn't have the answers. That if He had the answers, He would have been there for me. But He was. So, my brothers and sisters, when we look at the scriptures with the resurrection of Christ, and we come to that Holy Saturday liturgy, and if you were here, you saw in the back of the front of the church when we were outside, I decided, well, we got to get this fire started. So we had old kindling that we used, and I'm sure it would have started just fine by lighting that kindling. But, you know, I learned from another priest, an older priest, just put a little bit of rubbing alcohol. So I just put a little extra rubbing alcohol on it, and man, did that fire go up. But that fire reminded me of Christ's presence so magnified upon us. And the kids were amazed that night that I wasn't afraid of that fire. And I wasn't. Because when you have Christ with you and beside you and in you, you don't have to fear. You know, when our Paschal candle burns brightly, it's something that we can carry in our lives forever. You know, we call this Take 5, and it may go just a little longer today because I'm combining the two, Easter and Emmaus. But when you look at Easter and you look at the Triduum of how beautiful it is, Holy Thursday, Good Friday, and Holy Saturday, we celebrate the life, death, and resurrection of our Lord. And so, Jesus gave us all that we need in himself through the Last Supper. When he said, "Take and eat, this is my body. Take, drink, this is my blood, the blood of the new covenant, which will be shed for you and for many for the forgiveness of sins. Do this in memory of me." Then, on Good Friday, he took the cross up for you and me so that we could be saved. And one of the powerful things that came from Good Friday that I always go back to is that we look at the forgiveness piece. My God, why have you forsaken me? But when he was on the cross, you had the thief that mocked him. And then you had the thief that begged him for forgiveness. Said, "Lord, I know I've done wrong. I don't deserve anything. But just remember me when you come into your kingdom." Jesus looked at him as he's dying and said, "Today you'll be with me in paradise." That if he can forgive that thief, he can forgive us. And then we come to that Holy Saturday night when we come out of darkness and into the church with just the Paschal candle and then all of our little candles being lit. The light of Christ. The light of Christ. Out of darkness, Christ has called us. Chosen by God's people. So as we come into the Easter joy, see how you can live that to be that Easter sacrament. And then as we look at that, see how that forgiveness can become a daily examination for you. Because this past weekend I shared in my sermon, go back to that Mass, and if you don't want to watch the whole Mass, then just forward to the homily, because it was a good homily this weekend for the second Sunday of Easter. And I don't pat myself on the back, but it was a good homily. Talking about forgiveness. Because you deserve to be forgiven. Because we all walk on this road to Emmaus. And sometimes our eyes are blinded. I could have taken that easy road out, as I've probably shared with many of you 1,000,000 times. I could have been a football player, but decided not to do that. My mom begged me not to. Could have probably had a music scholarship that I passed on. chose to go to the seminary. Then took some time off, became a teacher. Then after that, went back to the seminary. But I stayed out here in Oregon because there was a deep calling here. And I've had many other things that have happened in my life, but we don't need to get into that today, because you've heard about that too. But what I'll share is the road to Emmaus. That sometimes we can take the shorter road, but it's going to have roadblocks. And then you're going to have to turn around and go another way. But sometimes if we just take the road and listen to God. I received this when I left the seminary back east by the seminary. As they said to me, always listen to the voice of God. Because wherever God leads you, you're like one of those disciples on the road to Emmaus. And we are all like that. If we just take 5 minutes a day, here and there, in the grocery store, when we're doing dishes, folding towels, running the vacuum, whatever it may be, mowing the grass, pray instead of maybe listening to music. Find time for God. Because the road to Emmaus, it's happening in your life right now. But open your eyes for God. Because, look, the road to Emmaus led me here to St. Philip Neri. And that's been a blessing. So see the blessing in your life. We're a blessing for each other. Now, unless Chloe comes to Mass, which we'll try to get her to at least one of the Masses each weekend so that it can be streamed. If not, I will post it that there will be no streaming for the weekend. So please bear with us while I am away. Many blessings to you, and I will see you again real soon. Take care. God bless you. Until we come together again, keep well.